What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? You already know what time it is. This is your boy, the historian. We're getting ready to get to it or whatnot. Raheem Morris's press conference before mini mandatory camp. You sit back, relax, enjoy. We got you covered. It's the bird cage. Let's go.
Okay, y'all, this is it.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? You know what time it is. This is your boy, the historian. Man, I'll say this: looking at the training camp, looking at the press conference for many mandatory mini camp or whatnot, definitely was interesting. If you sit back and look at it, Raheem Morris literally got a little flustered, or as we would like to say, he got a little ruffled with some of the questions that were asked in that situation. And what's going on, T. Will? Um, in that presser. And if you look back at it and just talk about it, I mean, most of the questions you heard were mainly about Kirk Cousins or Kyle Pitts. You heard nothing about the rookies. You really didn't hear too much about what they were going to try to do. So my question is this: how in the world are you going to sit there and have a team to talk about, unless you must be keeping something under the wraps that we don't know about? How are you going to have something that you're talking about when it comes to this team and you're not answering the right questions? And then I blame the media for asking the wrong questions. Here's my thing: if I'm a media member, which if I ever get into that field, my first question would have been, hey, how do you see this team responding in minicamp? Are you going to see Nick Nash getting some rotation? Are you going to get to see Simeon Barrow at that defensive tackle spot? Is he going to challenge Fox? What is the linebacking core going to look like? What type of work are you going to try to get in with these guys? Are you going to try to put the run? Pretty much, are you going to have the rotation with Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier going this year in a heavy situation? Are you going to do some things differently? But mainly this stuff was Kyle Pitts, Kirk Cousins. And I hate to say it, but it was horrible. I had to look off for that because it was horrible. You have Falcon fans that want to know about your rookies that are going to be coming in. What are you going to be putting those guys through? How are you going to be testing them? What kind of situations are you going to put them in to see what type of mindset they are in? How are your rookies learning the playbook? Are they going to be getting reps with the ones? Are they going to be with the twos? Are some of them going to be with special teams? What players might be on the bubble? I mean, there are so many different questions and so many different ways that we could have gone in this situation when it comes to asking questions and really looking at everything from, y'all got to excuse me, I'm a little under the weather. Weather been kicking my butt. But you have to look at it all the way around. What can you do with this team that you have assembled? What can you do with the talent that you have? because the way that everything has been put out, they're making it seem like Kyle Pitts and Kirk Cousins were the whole team. You have over 90 some guys that are still going to be going through mandatory minicamp at this point. Yeah, Raheem said he was at the front of the room and he talked to him, but look, listen, y'all are not going to get anything out of Raheem Morris when it comes to Kirk Cousins at this point. Let it go. Let it go. The thing you need to be worrying about right now is what type of team are the Falcons going to be fielding? What type of information is going to be put out there? It's a lot of people that are still having strong hopes for Kyle Pitts to have a great year with Michael Penix Jr. It's a lot of people that are still holding on to that. There are some people who would like to see pretty much Joshua Simon, the guy that's coming in from South Carolina, who was a top tight end prospect coming into this draft. So when you really look at it, there are so many narratives and angles that you can go at when it comes to this team. There are so many things that this team has questions. And my thing is, I feel as if the questions should have been a little bit more direct. The questions should have been a little bit more tedious instead of you just want to know Pitts. You just want to know Cousins. Okay, those are two guys that we have been talking about that's going to possibly be getting traded. They're probably not going anywhere. They're going to let those guys play out this year. But damn, can you start looking at everything else? Here's the other thing you're not talking about. Is Younghoe Koo going to be starting next year? Even though Koo was hurt, are we going to have him being replaced this year by the kicker that we just signed that was from Germany? I mean, there are so many different narratives that need to be spun. It needs to be a lot of things that need to be asked. And I'm saying the right questions were not asked in this situation. A lot of these questions were, I'm not going to discredit these folks because that's how they pay their bills, but I'm just going to be honest. Even a drunk that can't walk and chew bubblegum at the same time could ask better questions than what they asked today. That was horrible. That was horrible. And at this point, I understand now why a lot of journalists, well-renowned journalists in different parts of the country say it's a bit of an 8th grade reading level when it comes to the newspaper, when it comes to certain newspapers. And when you look at the type of reporters that are reporting at that point or asking certain questions, it's juvenile. You know, I really feel as if it should have been better questions directed towards Raheem to find out what we're going to be doing today, to find out what's going to be happening today with this team, because a lot of questions have to be asked. Here's another one that I'm going to throw out there. Ray McLeod has done well. He's done well. But the question is this. You're bringing in the top receiver who should have been the Biletnikoff Award winner over Travis Hunter. Yes, I said it. Go look at Nick Nash's numbers. He didn't get it because he went to San Jose State. And Travis Hunter's a phenomenal football player. But as a straight-up receiver, Nick Nash had that. Yards, touchdowns, receptions. Nick Nash owned that. The only person that had more than him was Harold Fannin, the tight end that's for the Cleveland Browns, who came out of Bowling Green. And he should have got the Mackey Award this year. But and again, when we say politics plays into things, you had two guys that went to smaller schools and they did not get the recognition for putting up better numbers than guys that were coming out of PWIs, period. So for me, I look at it like this. Ray McLeod did well, but just know his job is not safe. I don't care what anybody says. His job is not safe. When you have Nick Nash, who's an undrafted free agent, who is a guy that, yes, he's learning the playbook. Yes, he's doing some things. Then you still got Casey Washington that's still here. We have weapons on this team that can actually challenge for playing time. Darnell Mooney, he's got his spot locked up. If he can remain healthy, I think he's fine. Drake ain't going nowhere. Drake has gotten better every year that he stepped on the field. Now, looking at what we have, as I said, in this receiver room between Casey Washington and Nick Nash, that's going to be a battle. But I believe those guys are going to get on the field. Another guy that's going to be able to get on the field, if he's consistent enough with his hands, he's a special teams ace, and he's won a game for us and actually had some big plays to help us win a few. Cordero Hodge. That is a guy that definitely has his spot locked up on the team. So at this point, it's just getting ready to be great competition at certain positions. The question that I have is, why can't we ask these questions about this to Coach Morris? Why are we focused on just two players? Why can't we ask about the defensive line? What is that competition going to be like during mini camp and going into training camp? Why can't we ask about the running back position? Because you have Tyler Algier that's there. Are you going to keep him? Are you going to use him more? Or are you going to use Jace McClellan, the kid out of Alabama who was a rookie last year that actually is going to be going into his second year? Are you going to be able to do this? That's my question. My other question is this. Who's going if Kirk Cousins is no longer here, who's going to be your backup? That should have been a question that should have been asked. They were asking everything in the world about Kirk Cousins. But my question is, who's going to be the backup if they decide to trade off Kirk Cousins or Kirk decides to leave, even though he's got time, going to have time left on that contract still after this year? Are we keeping him here to make him a backup, or are we still going to wait till the last minute and try to get something for him? That still has yet to be determined. But as I said before, I feel like it's too many things that should have been asked. It was too easy. Too many questions go unanswered. We literally are in the dark with a lot of things. And the way that some of those questions came off, I just feel like it was piss poor. The other thing I'm going to ask is, okay, right now, there's a lot of speculation on Jalen Ramsey or the kid from Green Bay who just got released yesterday, Jair Alexander. There's a question of either one of them possibly coming to Atlanta. So if they come here, what are you going to do about Mike Hughes being on that corner? Because AJ's the number one over there. Who, if you bring him in, who's going to be that number two guy? Are you going to go with these guys who've had Jalen, who's a little long in the tooth? Jair Alexander's had issues with staying healthy, and then you still have to equate for Kobe Bryant. That is another guy that you have to think about. Who's going to get that slot job? Are you going to take Hughes and move him into the slot? Or are you going to use Bryant into the slot and just keep DeMarco Hellams on special teams, or keeping D. Alford on special teams? These are questions that need to start being asked at this point. You don't wait till the last minute to ask them. You ask these questions because there's information that needs to be put out for the fan base to understand what's what. We understand we're not going to be privy to everything, but there needs to be an attempt to address certain questions at this point, because the Falcons, we got a lot of talent, period. We have a lot of great talent. The question is this, folks. Do we have an opportunity to win this season with the talent that we have? How are we going to use this talent? How are we going to negate a lot of the negativity and the stigma that has been associated with this team? What can we do? Are we in a position to make some things happen? Are we in a spot to really put this team on the map? That's my question. That is my question for everybody that's out here. I feel like it's just too many questions that still need to be answered. And there's a lot of things that it's just right now, it's unbearable at this point. And all I can say is I'm happy that we've got these guys that's on the grass. And here's the other thing. You got two rookies in Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman that you still got to play in the secondary. What are you going to do? Are you going to put Bowman down in the box? Are you going to let him be your slot corner / enforcer down in the box? What is going to be your game? I'm not saying you're going to expose the game plan, but how are you going to use this? A lot of the questions, as I said, have not been answered and have not been asked. And who knows what they were told before? Who knows what they were told before they went in there? Were they told and instructed, hey, don't ask certain questions about this, this, and this? The people want to know. Falcons fans want to know. it's so many things that we can get into, and there's so many things that we can look at. But man, it's just at this point, I just see that it's just piss poor at this point. I love I love a lot of the media members that are in Atlanta. I read their work, I digest it, try to learn from them when they actually aren't on BS. But for the most part, I respect a lot of the journalists because that job is not easy. That is not an easy job because you have to deal with people that don't want to be bothered. You have to deal with coaches that get tired of you guys that want to fight you because of some of the questions you ask. I mean, and they're human. Yes, it's a part of their job, but you saw Raheem Morris getting a little ruffled in the press conference. Just saying, you saw that. Now that he's got all this talent, how are we gonna put this together? Also, I got a shout out to Mr. Doug Williams III. Shout out to DG III. He just became the quarterback coach for the Atlanta Falcons. His dad is the legendary Doug Williams who won the Super Bowl. He was the first black quarterback to win the Super Bowl out of Grambling State University. We support HBCUs here, and Doug Williams III is a Grambling alum. Now, I hate Grambling like I hate the University of Florida, but I'm always going to support the HBCUs anytime a guy gets a chance, and I'm going to give him a shout out because there needs to be more opportunities. And he learned from a great quarterback who learned from a great coach. And the teachings of Eddie Robinson still live on, and now we have that in Atlanta. So rest in peace to the legendary Eddie Robinson. Your dream has been accomplished. One of your boys, his son, is continuing your teachings in the NFL. So respect to Doug Williams III, and passing this on. I got to put that out there. But and the thing is, we struggled for the longest in this with the Falcons, not even having a quarterback coach. Now we have a young quarterback coach that's in this room that he can relate to Michael Penix Jr. He's a little older than Penix, but he can relate to Penix because let's be 100. He was a quarterback in college, had a chance to play in the NFL, didn't work. Now you got a guy who's not too far off in age, but has been in the NFL long enough to actually help this guy work. And here's the other question. How does Kirk Cousins work with the son of a legend? And let's be real. Kirk Cousins dealt with his dad when Kirk was in Washington. Doug Williams is still the man in Washington, and he's still the man in Tampa. That man has won everywhere he went. Tampa was a horrible franchise. And now that it comes full circle, you've got to actually work with his son now. How do you take the demotion of you being a starter to being a backup? Do you listen to this young guy that's in this room? See, it's a lot of things that no one's talking about. We already know that Zach Robinson is the OC, but we also know that the position coaches are always working with players. They're always working with them, whether it's the playbook, whether it's what they put out there. How can this quarterback room sustain? Because we see a lot of the stuff that the media is trying to do where they're asking certain questions and also bringing in a lot of negativity in this sense. So at this point, I just look at it from a standpoint of what can they do differently? What is going to happen? Because now, not only do you have a young offensive coordinator who's within his second year. What's going on, A1 Forever? Shout out to A1 Forever Sports. Y'all check him out. And also my man Smitty or whatnot. They get it in. Normally they beat me to the punch to it, but I got them today. I'm off today, not feeling too hot, but I had to jump on it. It's friendly competition. Those are my brothers. They definitely do damn good work on their channel or whatnot. So you guys check them out when they put everything out there, from the shorts to interviews and different things. They're definitely on point with that. Also, my man T Will, got to check him out. ATL for my ATL Sports or whatnot. You guys got to check him out. He has a great morning show, and he pretty much is doing something every day. T Will is starting to become like the James Brown of podcasting because he's doing something every day, just like my man Dixon Way, Mr. Larry. So had to give my shout outs to guys I work with, and also shout out to other fellow content creators out there. Salute. I don't have much time to mention everyone, but just know if I've worked with you or if I still have dealings with you or whatnot, I definitely pray and hope that you guys prosper and continue to keep doing great things out here. But getting back to great things, let's talk about these Falcons. How is Zach Robinson going to use this running game? How is he going to be able to balance a quarterback room that has tension in it right now? How is he going to do it? Because we're all seeing a lot of different things that's starting to come out now, and it's not pretty. Does Joshua Simon compete against Kyle Pitts for reps? I know Fitzpatrick is there, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a Georgia fan as well. Love my guy Fitzpatrick, and I also love my guy. I also love my guy Charlie Warner. If you really want to talk about it, I always gonna love them dogs. But I'll be honest with you on that. Those guys are great blocking tight ends. They can catch when you need them to. They can make plays when they need them to. But consistently, Josh Simon was a guy that made plays a lot at South Carolina for Lenore Sellers when he wasn't running or they weren't using Rocket Sanders in that backfield. Go look at him. He transferred from Western Kentucky, and the type of system that they run, he was used, and when he was used perfectly, and he could do it all: block, catch, take an end around if he needs to with the speed. Definitely as a guy that can also challenge, like I said, Fitzpatrick and also Charlie Warner for reps. He could challenge him. He could possibly get the number 2 spot. But if Pitts is not 100% by the time the season starts, if that foot is still jacked up or he has any other injuries or whatnot, who do you roll with? Do you roll with Charlie Warner? Do you roll with Fitzpatrick? Do you give the rookie, the undrafted free agent rookie, a shot if he balls out in camp and if he balls out in the preseason? Do you give him a chance? Because there's a lot of different things that come into play with this. It's a lot. And a lot of people don't want to realize this, but listen, if you're not, let's put it this way, I'm going to put this as politically correct as I can. There's no such thing as a job that is just guaranteed in certain positions. It's not. Even if you are a first-round draft pick, period. You have what we call competition here. Something that people in Atlanta complained about for the longest. We have it, and now people don't want certain players to lose their job. They're okay with competition in any other spot, but they're not good with competition. No, listen, I'm good with competition all the way across the board. I need guys to be pushed to the limits. I need them to be nervous about if I mess up, I could lose my job. Or I could have somebody to take my job that might not be as good as me, but they're more consistent than I am. Consistency is the key. I don't give a damn about talent. I love talent, but here's my thing. Hard work outworks talent all day, no matter what it is. You can go into any job profession and you can see this. Hard work beats out talent every time. You can say what you want, but the proof is in the pudding. Because we know many players that had talent, or we know many people in this life that have had talent. But guess what? They couldn't get it right, and they couldn't stay consistent. Being consistent is much better than being right. Because guess what? When you're consistent, you're going to continue to be right. If you're right for that moment, being right for that moment is not going to translate into consistency. Atlanta has to have consistency all the way across the board with talent, with coaching, with front office. I mean, I'm just look, I'm speaking from this standpoint. I'm not speaking from a fan standpoint. I'm actually speaking from being a host. Normally in Bumper to Bumper, I'm going to speak as a fan, but today I'm not speaking as a fan right now. I'm actually speaking from being a host and understanding the logic in a lot of things that go on in that front office or go on in that locker room when you sit back and you think about it. I got to play devil's advocate. I can't be a fan all the time. In this situation, I have to point out the things that need to be said. So the other thing that you have to equate for is this. Nobody's talked about that linebacker room. Think about it. You got a new coach who's a defensive coordinator, also is going to be your linebacker coach. No one's talking about that. We've heard about the front seven. We've heard about what Coach Ali plans on doing with our front seven, and you look at it. This is the one thing that I've noticed with, and it's not just with us, it's just with sports in general. Guys that are top round draft picks, they're going to always push the narrative, even if they're not good, because they don't want to paint the team in a bad light. They're going to try to give everybody ample opportunity to try to fix it, period. And all I can say is this, man. I pay attention to different teams and I watch how the media handles. You know the reason why I love the Northeast media? Northeast media don't give a damn. They're going to ask the tough questions. They're going to ask the questions that are going to make you feel uncomfortable. They're going to put you in a bad spot. Their job is not to be friends with you. Their job is to get information. They don't care. We have too much nepotism and we're worried about how people are feeling. At this point, I just sit back and I just pay attention to how they're doing it. Here's my thing. We need tougher journalists in these rooms. I want the tougher questions asked. I want to know the real answers because a lot of the questions that are asked, you letting these boys slide up out of here like they're political figures. Period. I'm looking at it from a standpoint of I want to know what my linebacker room is going to look like because that's the heartbeat of my defense. Let's just be real. Without that linebacking core that's going to be making plays, and you have to look at the fact that that front seven has to get their job done for these linebackers to make plays. We don't have a clear-cut, concise opinion about our linebacker room at this point. There's a lot of things that need to be addressed. There's a lot of things that need to be looked at from a standpoint. Yeah, we got the coach in here, but who's going to play? We already know Jalen Walker and Jalen Walker is going to be an outside linebacker / edge. Pierce is pretty much going to be an edge defender. That's really what that is. Jalen Walker is an off-ball linebacker. That is his job. He can play on the edge. He can come inside and blitz. He can bull rush the best of them and very explosive. We know he's going to play. But here's my question. When you look at these linebackers, what's going to be JD Bertrand's role this year? Who's going to be the middle linebacker? I mean, are we going to change the type of scheme that we run these linebackers in? Are we going to be more of a blitz heavy package with linebackers and consistently bring pressure like the old Grits Blitz defense with Jerry Glanville? Or are we going to have a blitzer and guys that are going to be playing a lot of zone? These are questions that need to be asked because linebacker play is going to be key for how this secondary plays as well. Because guess what? Secondary is the last line of defense, especially that safety spot. And the way that you use your linebackers is going to be a way that your safeties are going to be able to eat. Jesse Bates is going to have free reign as he always does. But the young guy that's back there is going to be the guy that you have to keep your eye on, which is Xavier Watts. And they're going to have packages for Billy Badass Bowman. We call him Billy Bowman, Billy Badass. That's his name. Pretty much like the old gunslinger. But you got Billy Badass or Billy the Kid is what we would say. That's going to be back there with Xavier 1000 Watts. That's what I'm calling him. I'm coining that. So if you hear it on any other podcast, let me know because I want my 10%. We coining this right here on the Birdcage. So all I'm saying is this. Linebacker play is going to be very critical for what we're trying to do with this defensive scheme because some of the things that killed us last year was linebacker play, missed tackles, not being able to play in coverage, a lot of different things that hurt us on this defense last year. Because if you look at it, we were very vulnerable in the middle of the field and also on the flats. We didn't have guys that could go sideline to sideline like a Devondre Campbell. But now you have a Jalen Walker who has the potential to do so. And if you look at the other side, we still have no answer for Arnold Ebiketie. How are they going to use him this year? And he's coming into his final year. Are they going to keep him? Is he going to ball out? I mean, what is his production going to be, and what is he going to do to open the doors for himself to be a better pass rusher? That's my question. All I'm saying is there's a lot of things that we need to answer at this point. How is this front line going to perform? Is Mr. Nelson going to give Caleb McGarry a run for his money, even though McGarry is a starter? Yes, McGarry had a good year last year. Listen, folks, as a fan, I need y'all to take the glasses off for a second, and I want you to look at from the time McGarry showed up to Atlanta all the way up until now. He's an elite run blocker, but he has been horrible at pass blocking. He got better last year, but the question is this. If he's not playing well, do you put in a Storm Norton who's a veteran who's got experience, or do you go with the guy that comes from a football factory in Jack Nelson and have him starting at that offensive tackle position? Think about it. Nelson plays every position on the line. His dad is a former offensive lineman in the NFL, and he's a guy that definitely can pay dividends for us on this team because, look, anything that comes out of Nebraska, Wisconsin, Iowa, Oklahoma on that offensive line, Notre Dame, I don't question it. Never will question it because of the fact of you look at the durability and you look at how many of those linemen have gotten into the NFL and also how many of those are Hall of Famers. That's where I'm at with it. So looking at some of the things that we have going, my question is this. When are we going to start being able to paint the picture for the fans? And I'm not saying paint lies for people. I'm speaking on when are we going to be able to put logic with the actions that we're expecting? When are we going to be able to put the two and two together? When are we going to know this? Are you going to be transparent during minicamp that's coming up? Are you going to be transparent during training camp that's coming up? That's my question. I know it sounds a little like, damn, historian, you're asking the obvious. But here's the thing. It shouldn't be me asking the obvious. It should be the folks that's getting a paycheck and actually paying their rent asking the obvious. I'm at the crib today because I'm a little out of it today, but I had to step on and had to address the incompetent questions that were asked today. Yes, it's a form of incompetency. There were questions that were asked, but they were incompetent. And the reason I said it was incompetent was because you didn't give the people what they needed. Period. So with that being said, man, I'm actually still kind of curious on what today is going to hold. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. And at this point, we really need to just see what's really going to take place right now with the Falcons. It's a lot of football that's getting ready to take place, and there's a lot of questions that have to be answered. And at this point, who do you move on from? Who do you give an opportunity to? Who do you put in a situation to continue to help get this franchise to a place to where you can get to the playoffs, possibly win an NFC championship and a Super Bowl eventually? What steps do we take? Now, one of the questions that need to be asked that we have not heard, and I don't see it, and I think it needs to be addressed during this offseason. And maybe I might be considered a jerk for it, but hey, tough questions got to be asked. My question is this, folks. If we don't make the playoffs or win a division title and make the playoffs, is this the end for Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot, or is it just Terry Fontenot's job that's on the line? I'm sorry, is it just Raheem Morris's job that's on the line? That's my question, because Terry pretty much has gambled and giving you everything that you've needed at this point. You have all the weapons. Even if the injury bug hits, you have depth. What are we gonna say? Are there any more excuses that we're gonna be able to use this year? That's my question. Can we put ourselves in a position to where we can become a better team? Where last year we saw it. You sweep the division champs, you split with New Orleans, which shouldn't even been a split. You beat New Orleans, you win the division, period. No matter what happened with Carolina. And then we split with the Panthers. The question is this: can we go 5-1 or 6-0 in this division? Because you know it's going to be one game that we drop. If we go undefeated in the division, I'm amazingly happy with that. But can we get it done? What steps are we going to have to take in the offseason to put us in position to do this? That is the question. We have so many questions, very little answers. So at this point, Terry Fontenot has balanced out those checkbooks. He's gotten great talent. One of the pieces of talents that he got, I'm not going to say is great, and that's Kyle Pitts. We have yet to see. 1 year doesn't mean anything. Anybody can do something one time. Consistency is what I've been preaching in this episode. Outside of the injury, everybody's saying, oh, well, he didn't have nobody to throw to him. You can't give up on routes. You can't get frustrated. He's had times where quarterbacks have flat out missed him. I'm not going to sit there and take that away. Quarterbacks have had opportunities to put the ball on him, and they don't. That can be frustrating, but you got to be professional at this. In the other hand, can you keep a quarterback's trust? Because during the offseason, everybody's got trust. Everybody is kumbaya, my Lord. Everybody's like that in the offseason. The question is, can we have that type of trust and that type of belief and benefit when stuff gets rough? Can we have that? Because Drake London hit, Bijan Robinson is hit. I mean, if we're looking at it, you look at damn near everybody that we've grabbed in the first round. Michael Penix has been a hit. The only one that has been suspect right now is Pitts. Up and down. I know people are going to defend him to the T, and I expect you to do that. You're a fan. I wouldn't expect anything less. But there's a part of this fan base that's not defending that BS. Sorry, I can't. I want him to prove me wrong this year because he has the talent to be a top tight end in the NFL. He has it. But as I said before, it's their heartbeat. What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to put out there? Just saying. Because effort is 50% of what we've lacked. And that's just me. And I think, and it's not just him. I want to see effort throughout the whole team. The whole team. And when you look at this team, this is a team that can definitely make noise. This is a team that can do a lot of great things. But I'm not one that's getting ready to fluff this damn thing up like some fresh cocoa bread at the Caribbean spot. And I just had some cocoa bread, by the way. So that's what I'm thinking about. It was banging with that spicy beef patty. If you know, you know. But all I can say is this. We can't continue to keep fluffing things up. We can't put yeast on it. We have to call things for what they are, ladies and gentlemen. It's not being negative. If being negative is telling the truth, I'm going to be negative all the time. That's just what it is. If we can't be truthful about this team that we buy merchandise for, that we support, that people like myself, my fellow content creators take time out of our lives to entertain our fellow brothers and sisters that are Falcon fans, if we can't tell the truth, what the hell are we doing? What are we doing? That's my question. Because I'm going to tell the truth about my team that I've been pulling for since 1991, since I was a kid. I'm going to tell the truth, whether you like it or not. And it's okay for us to have a difference of opinion. And I appreciate the passion that we have in this fan base. I just don't like the fact that, we're seen as a fan base that continues to keep Kleenexes wrapped around our necks like a Muslim has a bow tie wrapped around his neck. That's one thing I can't do. I need us to be a little bit more tougher when it comes to the outside world criticizing us. It's just like we can talk about each other, but you're not gonna let nobody on the outside do it. But sometimes you got to keep it stepping. That's just what we're doing. What's up, Christy? I see you up in here. Definitely got to check out the lady birds or whatnot. They doing that thing or whatnot on AFN. Get them a look. Ladies who know football and they do the damn thing or whatever. But getting back to it, I look at it like this. When can we really have an honest evaluation about this team without feelings being involved? I'm always willing to let folks come in the cage and talk about what they feel about this team. But what I also need for you to do is I need you to start being honest about this team. That's what I need you to do. And that's just me. I hold fans to a certain standard, just like I hold this team to a certain standard. And the thing is, the same way that you hold me accountable for the things that I say on the podcast or the magnificent Birdcage crew, all I can say is this, man. This is one of those things that you guys have to start doing. We've got to start holding. And here's the thing, accountability. Once we have accountability in this fan base, which I know it's not going to always be that way with everybody, but if we can have at least a good percentage of people that are honest about this team and as fans, I think we can make this thing go a hell of a lot further than what you think, where we're not considered crybabies. Steve Weiss from NFL Network came on this show and he said it not once, but twice. He said the Falcon fans cry about everything. And the reason he can say that, he worked for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution at one point. He was the beat writer. He covered the team before he got the NFL Network. And then you got to also remember this too. He worked in the Miami Dolphins locker room at one point, covering the Dolphins, covering the Miami Heat. He covered Pat Riley. What you see is what you get. And I love the fact that he was honest about it. And he said Atlanta has a lot of things that are positive. But the one thing that we don't have is a fan base that could just be just straight. Don't cry about everything. But all I can say is at this point, I love this fan base. I love this team. And I can separate my feelings from facts when it comes to talking about this team. Even if I piss people off, I'm okay with it. As I told y'all before, I don't mind being the bad guy. I'm okay with it. We need villains here and there just to make the narrative go sometimes. You need a villain or two to push things to a certain level. It's okay for that. It's okay. Now, what I am going to do for the folks that's in here, that's been tuning in, I'm going to drop the link. I'm going to let you guys come in here for a couple of minutes and chop it up with me or whatnot. If you don't want to, it's just one of those things. So I see you, RJ. So I got to shout out my guy, RJ Ellison, that is on Twitter, better known as X. He's sitting there saying that the Falcons are going to go 0-17. RJ, respectfully, you can go to hell. You and them old bum Tennessee Titans are yours. And yeah, I stand on it. Now that's a little bit of the fan of me coming out when I start speaking like that. So at this point, we got a better chance to actually win our conference and our division. Y'all still got to deal with the Jags, and you still got to deal with the Houston Texans. Y'all got to figure that out. Cam Ward is not going to be the only thing that y'all have. Y'all still got a lot of problems. So I'll let you in here once you're consistently dressed or whatnot, and you are straight. Because I am not going to be putting nobody up on here, respectfully. So when you're ready, you let me know. I got Mr. William Amy in the back, my guy, Will, Big Will, better known as Pink Slip Will. Will want to fire every damn body every time something bad happens. Will say, fire them all. So without further ado, we got the Pink Slip man, a.k.a. the man you don't want to see if he was running the Falcons. We got William Amy. What's good, Will?
What's good, man? Ryan, man. I love what you're doing. Salute, man. You was one of the hardest working content creators. You, Smitty Smith Sport Machine. rest of the panel, man, Mike, sportsman, all y'all, man, as a one, man, I salute what y'all do, and I like what you speaking with peace. But moving forward, like I said, I agree with you, man. With these journalists, with the S and these soft questions, we got to do better as a whole team. Like you said, it's no more excuses this year for Raheem Morris because Terry Fontenot did his job, and the scout department did their job, getting Billy Bowman, you got Kobe Bryant, and you got the pieces, but think about it. We gotta. It's up to the coaching staff to put these players in good positions to make plays. And with that being said, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, Ryan, man. This defensive line kind of questioned me because you think about it, we don't really have a strong nose tackle outside of Rupo Rolo.
You got
And
Fox. Fox actually is a very good nose tackle, but here's
mhm,
the other thing. You also just took Simeon Barrow from the University of Miami, who was the ACC Defensive Player of the Year at that defensive tackle spot. If you want to compare, if you go back and look at his footage, Barrow is a guy that comes from that lineage of what Miami has been like and what they've been known for at that defensive tackle spot, going back to Russell Maryland,
mhm,
Jerome Brown, rest in peace. You look at Warren Sapp. I'm not saying that he's these guys now. Let me make sure I put
yeah,
that out there. But he comes from the lineage that they breed badasses. Vince
yeah,
Wilfork, who should be in the Hall of Fame, another Hurricane. You look at Calais Campbell, who we just had, another Cane that was nice. And
yeah,
now you get a young talented defensive lineman in Mr. Barrow. The question is this: can Barrow get within that rotation? Because he still got to deal with Laquel London and he still got to deal with Kadavius Street at that point. Can he beat those guys out? Because if he can beat them out, he's getting in that rotation. Because let's be
yeah.
real, Rook is not a true DT.
No,
Rook is
no,
not a
no,
zero
no,
tech at
no,
all.
no. I agree with you. He's not because when I look on his clips and highlights, they use him more like a three technique. Like I guess he played what he play off the edge and play off the defense end.
Mm-hmm. And the thing
Yeah,
is, and the thing that's beautiful about the whole situation is this, man. We're looking at we're looking at a lot of things, and all I can say is we see that they're actually making moves that actually make sense. The question is this: are they going to put up smoke screens during this offseason when we try to get everything squared away? Or are you going to be transparent with this fan base and let them know this is what we're doing, this is what we are, and hey, they got to stop us one way or another? Is it going to be that? That's the big question.
yeah. I agree with you, man. We got to set the tone earlier too, because like I said, bro, we got Tampa, Minnesota. It just like I say, I like everybody saying, "Oh, this team could be a 12-5." Yes, it could be a 12-5, but it's like I said, it's up to the coaching style because that's what we was lacking all year last year. It was the coaching style. They were not putting the players in position to succeed, and the defense was the players were speaking out. I need the leaders to step up. Like Agent Terrell, I need you to step up. We're not page of the bag, but outside of Agent Terrell, be honest with you, I think Kobe Bryant might take Mike Hughes' spot. To be honest,
Mm,
because Mike Hughes, don't get me wrong, Mike Hughes was doing good when we was in playoff contention mode, but once he got hurt that neck injury, he started to decline. Like he started missing these key moments, like the Minnesota game. He wasn't nowhere to be found. But I could that go with Jimmy Lake though. But but like I said though, I got to me, this is my opinion. Ryan, Nicky Bowman gonna be that nickel position.
mm-hmm,
Xavier Watts gets denied the strong safety spot if he learned the playbook. DeMarco Helico, they could use DeMarco Hellum as a more like a middle linebacker or the slot. Because I
mm.
feel like they could go use DeMarco as a linebacker, to be honest with you. I don't think we could use him as a safety because it's so crowded in that back room. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think D. Arthur Clark Phillips gonna play that nickel position. I think Billy Bowman, that dude is a only thing he got to work on is tackling. If he work on the tackling, he's good. The coverage is excellent,
You
man.
you do realize Billy Bowman was one of the best tackling safeties in the country. That's why I'm looking at you like you crazy right now when you
No, no,
saying that.
no, 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 because like I don't.
Man, please.
And now I seen this highlight, but now they was
No,
like,
not his highlights. I watched him play, and I've actually gone
ooh,
to a
okay,
game and watched him. The highlights is one thing, but when you actually get to see it
in
in
person.
live in
Yeah,
live moving
yeah,
action,
yeah.
all
It's
I'm
different.
saying is that was something. That's something that you have to respect is his tackling ability because he's a guy that's not afraid to come down in the box and
Yeah, stick
actually
his
get you.
nose. Man, listen,
But
man. That. Go
but
ahead.
he can cover too. That's the other thing. He can actually
Yeah.
cover. And one of the things that we're going to be dealing with this year, we're going to be dealing with tight ends that's been torching us in the middle of the field, or slot receivers that have been coming in the middle of the field getting a free pass.
And that's what I was
So,
just about to, and that's what I just might get on too, Ryan, too, man. That's what was killing us last season. That nickel corner, that slot corner, they kept going D Alfred way. And I understand D Alfred, they signed him, but to be honest with you, I think D Alfred gonna get cut or he gonna be on the practice squad. I love you, D Alfred, but hey, it's a business. Competitions breed competition. When the shoulder pads get popped around July, I will be at training camp. So hopefully I see you, bro. I'm going. I ain't never been excited this year before.
So, Kerry, I actually mentioned that earlier when we talked about DeMarco Hellams playing special teams when I first dived into it, because I said the thing that I mentioned on this show today was there are no questions asked. You know what I'm saying? There were no real questions asked in this press conference, and there were so many things that were missing or whatnot. And the sad part about it was, well, damn, are you going to be able to address things? Are you going to be able to talk about these guys that are undrafted free agents that could possibly have an impact on this team? Because let's be real, majority of the undrafted free agents that Atlanta got as
Drafted.
undrafted free agents, they were supposed to be draft picks.
No.
Some were supposed to be second round picks, some were supposed to be third round picks. Hell, you had Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman rated as low first round picks, high second round picks, and they dropped. So when you look at it, the question is, how are we going to use some of these guys that are undrafted free agents? Because I know Helms is going to keep a job. He
Oh
going to
yeah.
keep a job in Atlanta.
Oh
It
yeah,
ain't no
for
problem.
sure that, for sure that.
So
I just feel like I'm Ryan, man. I just feel like we can't baby these veterans this year, bro. Like you be
mm-mm,
saying, bro, we gotta let them work their ass off and earn. Like Matt Ryan said, everything is earned, not given.
you
Everything is
paying
earned.
rent.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what we say. Look, you paying rent pretty much to keep your locker. That's what you're doing.
yeah. Yeah, man. And man, I got to go to the games this year, man. Pray for me for my ads out, bro. I take it next month on the 22nd. So I've been really studying my books when I'm working on my math, man. I got this, bro. But whatever you see me, bro, you family. You get them discounts, bro.
Hey
If I
man,
get personal.
hey man, you know how it go, man. I'm definitely understanding how that goes, being a former vet myself. So I get it, my guy. Hey,
Yeah.
do your thing, study hard, and just let me know how it's gonna be, man. Appreciate you coming through.
Oh yeah, always, man. That's what I was going.
Rich, what's good, man?
What's going on, family?
Good, good. What's happening with you, man? What you got?
Man, watching that today, man, really made me hate our journalists. Like, I'm gonna be real honest. The team is more than Kirk Cousins and Kyle Pitts. I'm really tired of hearing about both of them, to be honest, because it's so much other special stuff going on this team right now. A lot of people didn't even pay attention to Raheem last interview when he said we started moving Hughes inside. So you know what that made me think? Kobe
Mm-hmm.
Bryant is really out there showing out in practice. Because if you go back and watch an OTA video, Jared Gray is working with that man personally. So obviously they see the same thing we see. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? And it's like it's so don't nobody ask about Troy Anderson. Don't nobody ask, like you said, about the linebacker core. Nobody asked about the undrafted free agents. Nobody asked about, you know what I'm saying, which positions have you seen the most improvement from? Man, it's just so many other questions y'all can ask. And if my thing is, if one reporter asks about Kyle Pitts' injury and you get your answer, why the blank is it 4 5 other questions about the same question? You see what I'm saying? It's just formatted in a different structure. Y'all, it's almost like y'all trying to trap Raheem into saying something and he's already told you. We're taking it day by day. What more can you tell a person about an injury? If
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, if Ryan can't, if Ryan gets sick and he tell you I'm taking it day by day, and then I come back behind the same person and say, well, yeah, Ryan, how you feeling? You know what I'm saying? It's just like so repetitive and stupid. It's almost like you're falling into the BS. Like you not even for all y'all to have the same questions about Kirk Cousins and Kyle Pitts. Like, man, ask about something else. Ask about the tight end that they just signed. Asked
Joshua
about
Simon. Yep.
yeah, asked about old boy from Miami. Asked about how the offensive line doing. Cause remember he said McGarry dealing with an injury too. So asked about Jack Nelson. You see what I'm saying? If McGarry hurt, have y'all been bringing up Nelson? You know that's popped in my mind. I'm like, bro,
And
y'all need
you
to let
heard,
the fans
and
in
you
there,
heard what I
man.
told you. You heard what I told you at the beginning when I said this about. I said this about McGarry. Here's my thing. You still got Storm Norton there. If McGarry's hurt,
Man, you got Storm
Is
Norton.
Storm gonna be the guy that's gonna be the first is gonna be taking first round reps? That's the question.
But see, that's what I'm saying. You got to think. You got Storm Norton, Jack Nelson, Joshua Gray.
Mm-hmm.
It's so many other questions you can add. It would really irritate me because I'm like, damn, we're gonna sit here and talk about Kirk Cousins, Kyle Pitts the whole time. Like, what you expect? You're not finna trap the coach up to tell you something that he ain't supposed to tell you, even if it
Facts.
is they're trading them. You see what I'm saying? It's like y'all trying to feed into something and trap the coach with a question. Just ask questions that the fans want to know. Quit asking y'all own personal media questions like how how much repetitive like that makes I would ready to fire everybody today on the
And
Falcon media.
here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you like this. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, this is right now currently Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix Jr. are throwing together right now. Fair use, fair use, fair use. Got to stop sharing so they don't cut me out or whatnot. But as you can see, they were having a conversation. They're throwing the ball around. The problem is not between those two. Understand that.
It's
They
the media.
each other. That's what y'all don't realize. It's not those two. It's the fact that the front office and Kirk Cousins have problems with each other right now. It has nothing to do with it.
And then more people don't even know. You don't remember Kirk Cousins said he was picking pennies up because they stay in the same fucking neighborhood.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing. And that's the whole thing I'm looking at. So if you think about it, why wouldn't Kirk help this dude out? Kirk wants to leave Atlanta because of the front office. It's not because they drafted Michael
But
Penix.
if he can
It's
get a
not.
if he but if he got the possibility of at least seeing us go to the playoffs or possibly get a ring before he
He
leaves,
gonna
why
do
not
it.
help him?
And that's the whole thing. Look, I'm not the biggest Kirk Cousins fan. I'm gonna be 100 with you on that. I rock with him because he got the logo on. Yes, I'm one of the ones that I feel like the drama needs to be bounced. But at the end of the day, we also got to look at the fact that if he and Penix don't have beef, y'all need to look at where that energy is coming from. That's what y'all need to look at. Again, Julio said it in the podcast. A lot of problems are coming from that front office. Think about that, folks. Julio and Roddy spoke on it. Now you got Kirk that ain't been here that long. Now, some of the stuff is on him, but then you also got to look at the fact that how they've handled some things. Not really that good. So I'm just looking at when can we have some transparency with some things? That's my question. When can we?
But my biggest thing is y'all not asking about OTA. You didn't even ask the one question the fans want to know: are we gonna have open practice this year?
Oh, they're gonna probably end up having open practice
I
during
know it, but
the
you get. But I'm just saying, like y'all are
yeah.
not asking stuff we want to know. We don't care about what the other media talking about with Kirk Cousins. We don't care. We know Penix a good quarter. Ask something that's going to get us information we want to know, not something for y'all to go. Because all y'all gonna do is ask the question. Then when it's time to write it up in the media space, you're gonna rewrite everything that he didn't. You sort of give them like you're gonna write it to a point where you're doing this. It's almost like you're doing it for clicks and views
Mm-hmm.
versus doing it for the Falcon fans. All them questions y'all asked today, we don't. Excuse my friend, we don't give a fuck about none of that. What y'all asked today, we really don't. We
Hey,
talk about that all the time.
hey, you ain't finna get me canceled now. You can say what you want, but you can't be dropping the F bombs in here like
Oh,
that.
you can't drop the F bomb. I thought it
If
was the
I
B
can't
bomb.
listen, if I can't do it, I know for sure you can say damn, you can say ass, you can say hell, but I'm just saying like that. Yeah, we can't drop the F bomb. You can
Oh,
say
I thought
whatever.
it would have. I thought it would have B word. My
Nah,
bad.
that too. But I'm just saying, man. Like I feel where you coming from with that. And the thing is, Rich, you already know I'm good with you speaking your mind here, dog. So please don't think I was taking a swipe. You
No,
know
I
I'm good.
understand. I understand. I
So
want you to
yeah,
get canceled,
but
homeboy.
yeah, because like I said, I've seen some shows get canceled for certain things, and I'm like, nah, we can't do that here. But just think about it, Rich. When do we ever? Because you heard what I was saying earlier. The reason I love the report, like I live in the Northeast, I see how these sports journalists and these sports reporters are. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about how you feel about what they ask. They don't care. And their job is to just get information from you. If you don't give it to them, that's on you. But for the most part, they definitely gonna tell it like it is.
And see, that's the thing. It's like, okay, two reporters asked about Kyle Pitts. Why are the other five questions about Kyle Pitts? Two reporters asked about Kirk Cousins. Why the other five? You spent the whole interview talking about Kirk Cousins and Kyle Pitts, the whole little 30 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever it was. It's like, I'm wondering if someone going to ask about Troy Anderson. Do you even care about Troy Anderson? Or someone going to ask how the undrafted free agent shaping out? It's just so many other questions, but I get it. Them ain't the interesting questions that's gonna get you the clicks and the views. You
Mhm.
know, you could even ask them, are y'all thinking about Ramsey or Zaire Alexander? For all I care, I'm just tired of hearing about Kirk Cousins. Because if Kirk Cousins came to mini camp, obviously he finna sit right there. Everybody in the United States of America know there's no team for Kirk to go to right now. It's just not.
Yep. And think about it, man. When you look at Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh literally told you what they thought of Kirk Cousins. They waited for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, who at this point is not even playing to the level as Kirk was last year. They said, hell no, we'll take A-Rod over Kirk. Period. That right there should tell you something. So we're stuck with this bill. We're stuck with this $180 million bill. Now, you never know. Somebody else might be desperate enough to take him and give up something to get him because they're trying to compete. Just
But
being
you know
honest with
why I
you.
ain't mad about that, Ryan? Because
Was it?
name me a backup that's better than Kirk Cousins if something happened to Penix. Name me one. I
It's
be
not
telling
many.
people all the time, name
It's
me
not.
one.
It's not many out here like that right now.
So I'm not really in. I've been screaming that Kirk might well just, we done already paid you. There's no sense in trying to go through all this rigmarole or whatever. Just sit on the bench and
Collect your
collect your
money.
money.
Thank you. I know you still look as a competitor. I understand it because you still want to play. You still want to be out there because you love what you're doing. I get where you coming from with that, bro. But let's be honest, man. All I can say is this is the craziest thing, and Mike just said it. It's ironic that Pitts pulled to get Cousins. Remember, Pitts was the one who was trying to get him. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's a possibility that they both might leave. Not saying that it's gonna happen because I don't need the Kyle Pitts section of the church or whatnot to stop tithing and offering. You understand what I'm saying? The views, because you know how they get sensitive when you say stuff about him. But let's be real. Kyle right now has to perform this year. Because if he does not perform this year, he will not be here in Atlanta. You can go back and check the interview I had with Myles Garrett. He said the same thing. He said it's a make or break year for him, period.
And then
Yeah.
people still sleeping on the tight end we got from the Houston Texans. His only problem was injury, but he was actually a good tight end. He was actually a great tight end in college. He just, when he got to the Texans, he got injured. And
Mm-hmm.
then when he got injured, it was sort of a Kyle Pitts similar situation where they got another tight end and he just couldn't see the field again. But when you really look at it, it's like they got succession plans. That's partially why I think they signed Simon, not to rush the trade Pitts, but just if that injury is deeper than what it seems to be, we got our back. We got two or three other tight ends that could possibly make the team. And I believe Simon to make the team just because we lacking in the tight end department. Just keeping it real.
No, you're definitely absolutely correct about that. The the question that I've had for a lot of people, and I've spoken on this, was what are we gonna do? All I can say is, what are we gonna do? You know what I mean? If he's not healthy, because this is the thing that everybody don't want to talk about. Think about it. Raheem Morris is literally ducking that question for a reason. That foot is not all the way right, and it's gonna take him time because you think about it. Pitts is a guy who relies on his speed because he's a strider. He's not. Let's be honest. He's a guy that strides. He's not a guy that's just
Yeah, he
blazing
not a
fast.
quick
He's a strider.
person, but
Yeah,
once he get going, he gone.
yeah. It's like a freight train. He got to build up speed. Now the thing is, when you talk about a guy that relies on that type of skill set, being able to out jump people, that right there is neutralized with a bad foot. At this point, you can't do anything without your wheels. Period.
Yep.
You can't do anything without your wheels. Now, if he's hurt, this is what I'm gonna say. Put Charlie Warner out there. Charlie Warner was used perfectly in Frisco. He always showed up when his number was called, whether if it was blocking, catching. Guess what? Charlie Warner showed up this year. Or if we're going to start using these big tight ends that like to block, guess what? Put one of them in the backfield and let's start using them as fullbacks again. Or better yet, go get Keith Smith if he's still out there and bring him back as a
But you want to
fullback.
know the interesting thing about what you just said? That's what I mean. They ask the stupid questions because if you look at the depth chart, Tyler Algier is listed as our fullback. And I believe they did that so they could put him on the field figure out how to get him on the field at the same time, besides just a split back style of scheme. But y'all don't even ask that question. It's
Because
just, I don't know, it's a little irritating to me to keep hearing the same questions asked over and over and over and over again.
so the folks that's in the chat, the folks that's tuning in right now, I'm gonna throw this out here for you guys. Here's something else that you got to also take into account when it comes to this football team. Kyle Pitts also could be used as a red zone matchup. He could be used as a red zone mismatch in this sense. We're not really using mismatches at this point right now. We haven't been, how can I put it? We haven't been in a situation to where we've really used this kid's talents in the red zone. You haven't used Drake in the red zone. You have a basketball team. You literally got a basketball lineup at that receiver and tight end position with everybody being over 6'1", everybody being able to jump. And we have to figure out how can we become more effective in the red zone by giving Pitts bigger target. I'm sorry, giving Penix bigger targets to throw at when we got them. You get what I'm saying, Rich?
Man, that's why I think, as much as I hate to say it, I think Ray and Nick Nash gonna battle for that slot, because if you notice, even in college, Penix always had big tight ends and big receivers. He didn't really have no small guy. If you ever notice, when he throwing the Ray and Cordero Hodge, the throws do be off a little bit because he used to taller receivers and taller tight ends. But like you said, we got a basketball team now, and it's like, when I heard Raheem even say Kyle Pitts is a Mitch match, not per se referencing it to Kyle Pitts, but at least that let me know y'all looking to make Mitch matches this year inside of Zach Robinson's offense, when they asked the question about Zach Robinson. And he was talking about how Pitts is a Mitch match. And at least that let me know that y'all, that's what I mean when I say question. That was a good question. Because at least that let me know that our coaching staff say, okay, well, we didn't do, like you said, last year we didn't do mismatches, but this year, which even Zach Robinson admitted it in his PFF interview, we basically ran the St. Louis Rams playbook because I didn't know my personnel, which is no excuse, but at least he admitted and took accountability, saying I didn't know what type players we had, and
What
now
did I
that I
say
know,
earlier?
I basically got to throw the Rams playbook away and create a whole new playbook.
What did I say earlier? I said this earlier. I said accountability has to be all the way around, not just from us, but also from the front office, the team, the coaches. It's got to be all the way around, even including the fan base. Accountability has to be put there. And I got to give out a shout out to my guy, Mr. Andre Schum, out there in Germany doing his thing or whatnot. Mr. No Scholarship Podcast. Please check those folks out. They got it locked down. College football is doing their thing. He's an Alabama fan. We're going to be rivals this year, as we always are. We're going to talk our trash. But this man covers a ton of college football for my college football fans that are out there on X and YouTube. No Scholarship, man. Y'all check them boys out. They doing their thing over there. But getting back to what we were talking about, let's be honest. Why not? Why not have a package to where you got Nick Nash on the field? You have Ray McCloud on the field. You got Kadero Hodge on the field and Casey Washington. If you're going to run all foes, if you're not running Drake and those guys, have packages to where, guess what? We can use all these weapons to where no one can prepare for Atlanta. You get what I'm saying? Nobody can prepare for that.
That's what I meant about the questions, because you could have asked a question like that. What type of pack do you think y'all gonna do new packages? Because you know how they always talk about a NASCAR package on defense. You can have a NASCAR package on offense because you got the speed and you got the size. When you don't throw your size at them, just say maybe, okay, you got a different style defense that you playing this week. So the size not really working. So maybe you got to throw your speed out there. Your speed may not work with this team, so maybe you got to throw your size out there. Neither one may work with this team, so you got to do a mix and match, like you said, where you put a Drake, a Hodge, a Washington, and a Darnell Mooney. You see what I'm saying? Or Kyle Pitts. Like, you got so much. There's so many questions that could have been asked. Because I'm gonna be honest. To me too, I partially feel like the league see it, like, you know how the 2016 year. I know what the problem is. The league don't want to slip on us like they did that 2016 year. So they don't know what to think. You see what I'm saying? Remember 2016, they just totally slept on us. Now they like, well, Penix ain't really proved himself, but we seen what he did in college. Well,
I gotta show this real quick. You keep talking, but I got something I gotta show you guys or whatnot. We're talking about Penix and Ray McCloud and these guys. Fair use, fair use, fair use. Here you go.
But the league don't want to sleep on us again. And I think that's the big issue.
Dime.
They scared. That's the real issue in my mind. It's like the league really scared of us, because you got to think, we didn't go to the coaches picture. We didn't go to the first round draft picture. You know, all the stuff that they doing for league-wise, the Falcons have not showed up. They like, we got bigger fish to fry than taking pictures with y'all. First of all, we don't even like y'all because y'all cost us a third-round pick anyway.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Even though it was Kurt fault, you get what I'm saying. It's like,
no, I understand exactly what you're saying. They're pretty much in a position to say, you know what? Half our fan base is mad with us right now. They don't want to deal with us. Half of the NFL is pissed at us because we didn't come through like we were supposed to. You know what I'm saying? At this point, they're like, you know what? We're just going to do what we want to do. Y'all figure it out. That's pretty much where they are with it.
And I feel like this is one thing that I've sort of seen from Arthur Blank over the last year or two. Arthur Blank tired of people just ragging on us, brother. Like, I feel like Arthur Blank ready to put his foot on people's neck now. Because, like, I don't know. You know how you just get a feeling from a person. Like, once I watched this interview where he was like, I don't care what no one else said. Yeah, we drafted Penix because I don't want to go back through a Desmond Ritter and Marcus Mariota. You get what I'm saying? It's like he's sort of tired of being the laughing stock of the NFL. And it's like I think he's finally put his foot down, you know, as far as Arthur Blank been asking for a defense, but the quarterback situation was so messed up. Imagine if we hadn't got our quarterback last year. Look who we had to pick from this year. Or even next year. I don't see nothing coming out that's looking like Penix. I don't even see nothing coming out that look like Bo Nix, if you really want to be honest about
it. And here's something else I got to do. Because, see, I'm doing a lot of showing a few things or whatnot. I got something else I want y'all to see, ladies and gentlemen. This is why this man is the best safety in the league right here. Shout out to Jesse Bates getting it in. He's on the jugs machine, as you can see. Fair use, fair use, fair use. catching passes with one hand. This is what we mean when we say putting in work. And this is before training camp, his mini camp has started. This dude is already on the field before everybody else. Think about it. You see guys walking on the field at this point, and you see that he's coming in and he's doing that.
But if you remember, he said, man, let me tell you something. The league, I really do think the league's scared of us this year because in Jesse Bates' interview, he said something that really shocked me. And I'm going to keep referring to this. Him and K. Nelly said one thing that really shocked me. He said that Jeff Ulbrich has brought out the inner linebacker in him.
Yeah.
When you have a safety with a mentality of a bruising linebacker that can roam at the same time, and then you have your linebacker, K. Nelly, say, I've never had a DC that was a linebacker coach. They was always either a defensive line coach or a DB coach. He said Jeff Ulbrich is teaching him the fundamentals of actually being a real linebacker.
Think about it.
He said he never had that in his whole career. So if he
Rich.
never had that, that means all the linebacker coaches didn't really teach him nothing, even at the Saints.
But just think about this, Rich. When you speak on that, a safety ain't nothing but a mobile linebacker. That's all a safety is. Safety is a mobile linebacker. And most safeties, you get some that are big, you get some that are undersized. But when you look at Jesse Bates, you know, who's a good player, but I'm going to be 100 with you on this. Jesse ain't the biggest guy out there. I'm actually a little bigger than Jesse. You know what I'm saying? Weight-wise. But if you really look at it, when he's saying that, that means this defense is getting ready to be a physical defense that's getting ready to literally here's the thing. How can I put it?
Play with their hair on fire.
Pat Riley said it the best. And, you know, I'm going back to basketball on this. See, a lot of people remember him winning them championships with the Lakers back in the day with Showtime. You know what I mean?
Yep.
His personality was not Showtime. His personality was those New York Knicks that was up in New York in the early 90s. Like he said, what we going to do is this. If we don't win the game, we going to win the fight. And that's the type of mentality that Jeff Ulbrich is bringing here. But the difference is we're going to try to win the game. Now, if we don't win the game, we damn sure going to win the fight. And that's the mindset that he's giving these guys. Think about that, bro.
And see, that's what I mean. Because if you look at Jesse Bates' interview, what did he tell you? Oh, X been with me every day. Me and X working on something. X finna be special. So if X with him every day, and X already said I channel my game after him, man, look, let's say Jesse Bates said we're going to probably have the best safety room in the NFL. So that lets me know that he's actually getting in the film. He said me and X get in the film room at least for a couple minutes every day.
And remember who else? And remember who else in that safety room with him too? You got Billy Badass Bowman, or I like to call him Billy Gunn. You got that's what I call both of them. We got Billy Badass, Billy Gunn. I've heard some people say Billy the Kid. I'm like, nah, I call him Billy Gunn. Because definitely he gun for folks when he definitely lines you up in his sights and takes a shot at you.
And that's why they said they gave him the number 33 to represent Billy Bowman, Billy Badass. That's what they said they call him in camp. My bad. I forgot about.
No, you can say ass on here. You see, I said it. You can say ass.
Okay, they call him Billy Badass at practice. And if you look at Billy Bowman interview, he said they asked him, has he been playing mostly nickel? He said, no, they've been playing me everywhere. Nickel, safety, cornerback, inside, outside. They just been moving him around.
That's what you might laugh at. Now, see, I grew up, as a kid, I grew up as a wrestling fan. See, I grew up during the Attitude Era of WWF when I was a child.
Oh, yeah, me too. Ultimate Warrior.
So my thing is, when you talk about the Attitude Era, I feel like Billy Bowman and Xavier Watts are the New Age Outlaws. Because think about it, they coming in with a reckless attitude. And I know this might sound funny, but shout out to Road Dogg Jesse James and whatnot. He's in Atlanta. He's from Atlanta, by the way.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't know Road Dogg was from the Marietta area. and his dad was a former wrestler, also a Marine. So when you sit back and you look at it, man, all you can say is, "Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody." That's what I feel like when we drafted those two. That was exactly what I heard in my head, bro.
And
Like real
you
talk.
know what that made me think of? Because if you remember right, I
Mm-hmm.
come from that era too of wrestling. And I'm gonna tell
Yeah,
you who was my favorite group, Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors. But they weren't
Legion of
nothing to
Doom.
play
I
with.
got you.
So when I heard Jerry Gray say he called them fire and ice, that's the first thing what I
Those are
love.
your role warriors right there. Pearson Walker.
And see, that's what I'm saying. But see, when I look at what we building right now,
Mm-hmm.
it's been a long time since I've heard of players getting into it in practice. I
Facts.
haven't heard about that since like 2017 almost, 2016. But what that tells me is they're building attitude on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. Because if you look at it, even Zach Robinson in his PFF interview he said Jalen Walker and Pierce are so fast off that line that I've been having to figure out different type of line adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
He said because they so fast, that's why I be telling people go back and watch that. Zach Robinson actually accepted so much accountability, it actually gave me a different respect for him because he admitted that I didn't know my personnel last year. Which y'all wonder why Tyler Algier didn't get the balls that much because he didn't know his personnel. You wonder why the plays look the same because we running the same plays that the Rams were running because he didn't know his personnel. He basically letting you know I got to scrap our whole playbook now and go to something else because the Rams playbook don't fit the team that we got. Because if you actually think about it, we actually got a better offense than the Rams got.
Mm-hmm.
You got to switch it up. You can't do what the Rams did because that don't work for us. So when I got my offensive coordinator telling me our two rookies are so fast off the line that I had to move my line adjustments, that let me know that there's attitude on both sides of the ball, and I love it. I love it.
So I gotta say what's going on to Ron, who just came into the building. What's up,
What's
Ron?
going on,
What's
Ron?
up? What's up? Um, who y'all think will get cut from this team?
Right now, our guess is just as good as yours. Because damn it, the press didn't ask the right questions today, so you're
For us
never
to
gonna
know
know.
anything.
You're not gonna know. So at this point, that's a useless question at this point, Ron.
Well, I know somebody going to get cut. That he stay at Grady Hospital all the time. They got his picture on the wall, aka Troy Anderson.
But see, then I don't really know because our team's so sneaky. Troy Anderson may don't even be hurting. They just may got him in the film room. I don't really know what's going on because our journalists don't ask the right questions.
Facts.
I've been saying we need to get new younger journalists in the that ask the questions. All the people in there they don't like to get into fighting situations. They don't like to ask the question that need to be asked. If
No,
you
they don't.
so they don't want to be like Philly. Let me say that, or New York Giants, or Pittsburgh Steelers. Philly and the Giants people that be asking the question, they don't care. The news people, they don't care. They want to know what's going on at all times. Is I lying, Ryan?
Nope. I'm sitting back just laughing at this point.
If you look at the reporters with the New York Giants or Philly or Pittsburgh, they would ask those questions. Now here, they don't like to ask those questions.
Mm-hmm.
Because truth be told, the way I'm feeling about what you asked, the question you asked, Ron, I think it's gonna be surprisingly maybe some vets that get cut.
It don't
Yeah,
surprise me. It
I
don't
Cause,
look
surprise
at
me at all.
Cause they already let Philip Dorsett go. Because you got Quincy Skinner and you got Nick Nash. You gonna have to let someone go. D. Alfred, I'm gonna be honest, mate. As much as I like D. Alfred, he may not make this list.
yeah. I look at if you not putting your all at training camp, if you not bringing your all every day, you don't need to be here. I'm tired of we getting players that they come here, they want to get a paycheck and don't show up.
That's what I meant when I said you just hit the nail on the head. Remember when I said I think Arthur Blank just tired and ready to put his foot on people's neck? That's why. Because the last person to try to just get a check, not saying Kirk Cousins was just trying to get a check, but the way that you tried to move along after you got
Right.
injured, I think Arthur Blank just tired of all that. I think he really want to he tired of the media. He tired of some of these players. He tired of being a laughing stock in the NFL, and he just ready to put his foot on people's neck, bro. Like, you can't be mad at that neither, because look how long you even got people talking about Arthur Blank need to retire and
Well,
sell the team and stuff. He tired of all that.
well
You
uh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to be nice about this today. Arthur Blank, the cause of a lot of this stuff. You got the wrong people in the front office.
Mm-hmm.
He the cause of half of this going on. You got the wrong people in the front office that don't need to be in there. That should have been got fired. You got the boot a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
and I think a lot of it had more to do with Rich McKay than Arthur Blank.
Bingo. Bingo.
Truthfully, that's how I feel. Because when I heard Julio interview, he said I ain't even talked to Arthur Blank. Roddy was like, I didn't even find out. I got found out I got fired on vacation from Rich McKay, not even Arthur Blank.
Bingo. Me and Ryan talk about this all the time. What Rich McKay doing for Arthur Blank?
Nothing.
You
But
been
see,
here for so long. So
you
long.
you know what it is though. Once I found out that Rich McKay is really supposed to be after Roger Goodell as head of the NFL whatever committee, and I
Right.
found out what committee he on and what he runs outside of the Falcons, I was like, I sort of get it now. It's more business than anything, but he shouldn't have been head of football operations.
Right. But me, if you're not bringing nothing to the table to help their team get better every year, you don't need to be here.
So here's my question. So why are we even bringing up management in here when we've been talking about what's going on the field? Because we already know what the
Because
problem is. We already know what the problem is. Why are we bringing management up in this conversation right now?
I
they
think some of
part of
it
the
leak out to the field.
No, no, I'm no, I'm no. The only reason I'm asking is because I know where you're going with this, but I don't know if everybody in the chat know where you're going with this, and I need you to bring that clarification. That's why I'm saying it, because let's be real. I don't give a damn about management right now at this point. I
right,
really don't. And I ain't even trying to be funny. The
right,
reason I say that is because I'm more concerned about what's getting ready to be on the field right now.
right,
Management is the least of my concerns right now. The
right.
least of my concerns right now.
Well, if the journalists had asked the right questions, we'd have knew what was going on.
That's my whole thing.
Bingo.
That's why I said I'm not worried about management, because guess what? They're gonna be like politicians. They're gonna be like politicians anyway when it comes to answering different questions or really even putting things out there. Let's be honest. Our leadership, we know what the leadership is. The question is, how does our team respond to making sure that we're putting a great product of football on the field this year? That we're putting the product of a team that's trying to win a division title, that should have won it last year, that that pretty much screwed themselves out of a playoff game because
Well,
of this poor play down the
It
stretch.
come
That's my
down to
first.
what you said though. Cause what you said actually is true because I've seen a lot of it, and it's actually sort of made me proud of my coaching staff. Because the first step to admitting how bad last season was is what? Accountability. And every interview I've seen, even down to Raheem, even Raheem took a little bit of accountability. I watched Zach Robinson, what you call it? Zach Robinson took plenty of accountability. I mean, to hear Raheem say today about Mitch matches, we ain't even hear about that last year. So now at least what I'm starting to notice is the like Terrell said in his interview, we not worried about the players, not worried about the coach. We're finna be player led this year. We not so basically he telling you we not finna let no coach ruin the timeout. So timeout need to be called, a player gonna call the timeout. You see what I'm saying? If
right.
Mm-hmm.
if the coaches look like he said we not even worried about the coaches this year. He said we are players. He said one thing AJ said that made a lot of sense, which is why I think our second Super Bowl run didn't happen. Like he said, we finally, the whole organization is finally on the same page. And he said, while you got these players here, we need to make it happen now. He said, because it's not promised that they're going to be here next year, some of these players. So he said, while we got this nucleus that we got now, we're going to be player led this year. We're not letting nobody stop us from going to where we want to go. So that let me know all the way down to the players, people are taking accountability. They're not gonna let Raheem mess up by his game time management. They're not
Yep.
gonna let Jeff Aubrey mess up with the scheme like they, because what I think happened is last year they sat back and didn't say nothing about Jimmy Lake and just roll with it. You see what I'm saying? They just let how you sometimes when you get in the job, you just roll with the punches instead of
Well,
speaking up. And I think this year the players not going for that. I think because I didn't even realize AJ been on our team for this is 7th year.
Yep. Been
yeah.
around for
So
a minute, but hold up before y'all get finished. I got my guy Gray Beard sliding into the cage or whatnot. One part, a third, I'll say a third of it because we still ain't got all of them in here, but a third of the magnificent Birdcage crew. What's going on, Gray Beard? How you doing, brother?
we're going on, Great Bill.
What's
What's
going on
up,
with y'all,
great
man?
dude?
What you got,
Hey,
man?
yeah, I'm just gonna pop in real quick, man. Looking into the content, man. Dope content as always. But yeah, I tuned into the Raheem Morg interview. I was just like, uh, I mean, because you already know they're not going to really answer them type of tough questions or even ask them, at least until we get into training camp and when you got to start trimming that fat to make that 53-man roster. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, I pretty much already expected that they did this last year. So they're not gonna the only difference is they was really hounding Raheem like Ronald, where you waited so long to get you down to your coaching staff and whatever the case go. That was pretty much the only difference from last year to this year with the questions. But I mean, I agree with Ryan to the most point, man. I really want to know what behind Kyle Pitt and behind freaking Kirk Cousins, which only reason why we're talking about them because it involves the money that we got to pay one man, and now that we already paying with Kirk Cousins. So that's pretty much the reason why journalists are really keen in on that. For me, man, I'm trying to keep what the rest of this team gonna look like. The battle that's coming up in a mandatory training camp and in regular training camp with the defensive line, the offensive line, the wide receiver room is stacked. We got a defensive back coming. I'm trying to keep what the hell
So,
how he's gonna fit. I mean,
well,
there's just
you
so many
asked the
other.
question. I got the
Yeah.
answer for you. Since you
Okay.
asked the question, spare you, spare you. As you can see, Casey Washington leading our defense right now.
No,
So, I
yeah,
mean, and
cause
that and that's your cornerback one, Mike Hughes, that's on. You saw that 21. That was Mike Hughes on. and he literally just got dusted for a slant route with Casey Washington. This is who we talked about earlier. We were saying with Casey Washington and Nick Nash pretty much being in a position where they're going to fight over that slot spot. And then you still got to hope that Ray can hold on to his job because them cats not going to make it easy for him.
I mean, yeah, I mean those are the questions a fan want to know.
Facts.
Cause we understand that Kirk Cousins and Kyle Pitts, we understand it pretty much involves money. For the rest of the fan base, man, we want to know what them battles are going to look like. Who do you think has a slight
Right.
edge in those pet battles? I mean, we look at how Jackie Baker is molding the young defensive back that we just drafted and the one we got in free agency. How Kobe Bryant looking? I mean, there are just so many other angles that fans want to know rather than the two ones that involve pretty much money.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that being said,
It's
like I said, I'm
crazy though.
looking at it. We're pretty much getting to where we're at time now, fellas. So we getting ready to wrap this thing up because we've been on for an hour and a half or whatnot. So little something. Oh, I know, because I got something I gotta take care of, but I needed to get on right after we had the meeting. I mean, pretty much the press conference. And originally I wasn't even gonna say anything about it, but it was just piss poor that they asked those questions like that, and they really did not ask anything. Like, we got a whole bunch of nothing for about 15 to 20 minutes of a press conference, really 20, 30 minutes of a press conference. We didn't get anything out of it. So at this point, we've got to sit back and say, what the hell is really going on?
Right.
Were they told not, and like I said at the beginning, were they told not to ask questions, or did they just not have any questions to ask, or are they in a position to where they just want to keep BS going? So
I think it's a combination of they were probably told not to ask certain questions, and I think a lot of stuff coming from the Atlanta organization, they keep them close to the vest. That's pretty much my opinion.
Well,
I feel the same way because they really not putting like I've ran through YouTube and seen so many videos of other teams and they practices and they OTAs and Cam Ward this and other teams that. The only thing they got with the Falcons is Penny's throwing the ball to Mooney and Ray, and that's it. Like the Falcons ain't. I think we really like in grind mode right now. I feel what Great Beard saying. We really in like a grind mode right now, and we don't want to tell y'all nothing.
Agreed. So this is what I need y'all to do since we talking about it. Since they not gonna tell nobody anything, Ron, tell the folks where they can find you, and Rich, you're gonna go afterwards. Great bit. They already know where they can find us. They tuned in right now. But Ron, what you got, man? Tell the folks where they can find you, man.
You can find me on Talk Your Ish tonight. It's about to go down tonight at 8 o'clock. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, X, all that stuff. So
you got more jobs than the Jamaican in the Living Color back in '92, bro.
Nah.
You upset if y'all remember that sketch? They had 30 jobs apiece. But, man, what you got, Rich? Where can the folks find you at, man?
Man, y'all can find me at Dirty Falcon Podcast. I'm finally getting everything together. I'm gonna probably have to post another picture so you can find me, but you find me at Dirty Falcon Podcast. You can also find me at King Richie. You type in King Richie, pop out. My single just dropped on YouTube. I'm at 6,000 views. I'm trying to get to 10,000. So I'm just out here working, man. And I'm on Everybody Podcast. We talking our Falcon-ish.
He definitely be on Everybody Podcast like he got a job getting paid for this. Ain't no lie. But definitely appreciate y'all for coming through, fellas. Thank y'all.
No doubt.
Yes, sir. Great bid. I know you got to punch that clock, get back to it, man. I thank you for sliding through. It's always a blessing when one of the members of the magnificent Birdcage crew come through and drop some knowledges. Great bid did coming in quietly as he always does. My guy did his thing. Definitely look forward to the show this week because we got John Abraham coming on to the show this week.
The
So
Predator.
we're definitely gonna get into it with John or whatnot, not only about his career, but what we're gonna talk about is with this team. So it definitely is gonna be an amazing show this week, man. So y'all tune in to it. So thank y'all for coming in. As we say up in here, man, you either get right or you get left. Y'all got right, but before you get left, hit that like and subscribe button for us. We'll catch you Thursday at 8 p.m. Ghosts.